Alright, starting things off a little late today. Kind of snoozed in today. Shouldn't have done that, but okay, let's got like around 30 minutes. So let's start with reading and taking notes on tidy data section 4. I get the paper open. Alright, I'm gonna get to reading. I'm gonna mute the microphone and I'll be back when I finish reading this. I'll move the screen every once in a while just to indicate like what I'm reading. It's not that much to read. I think I can finish it in 30 minutes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely can finish it in 30 minutes. All right, let's do this. Okay. So in a gist, it talks about a lot of tools which use the language R. And I think this paper is kind of old because it doesn't really talk about Python for manipulation. I don't see a date, but yeah, everything that's been talked about is with like the language R. And so it talks about like tidying tools, like using. So once after you do clean up your data set, right? So that was what section 3 was about, cleaning up your data set. How do you analyze your current data set now? So there's different ways. There's manipulation, visualization, and modeling. And it goes into a little bit about each, talks about the packages that are used in R for each, and gives a little glimpse into what the output would be for each section. So for example, visualization is pretty simple, right? You take a tidy data set in as input, and then you produce a visual graph of some kind. It could be a scatter plot, could be, I don't know, a box plot, whatever it could be. Whatever would give you the most amount of analysis. Each graph has a different statistics that it you can compare with histograms and whatnot. And then we go back to manipulation, talks about a method of like transforming the data set, um, like subset, transform. These methods are used in R. So it would take a tidy data set in, and then it wouldn't necessarily output a tidy data set, depending on how you look at it. But it would do some sort of transformation on the data set. It could be some sort of normalization function, or if you're calculating mean, or any statistic, analytical statistic. And then we have modeling. Modeling is a neat way, and I think it's a lot more common now than when this paper was created. It's the process of kind of your package determines what the data set is like, and it's able to perform statistics on that. For example, for this data set, it's able to perform a paired t-test, a form of statistics. And for this data set, it's able to do the mixed effects model since the columns are organized in this way. So depending on how your data structure, your data set is structured, we can perform different hypothesis tests and different statistical tests on it. And it talks about a lot of the R packages, but these days it's not, R is not that useful since Python has so many third-party libraries that do all of this in one tool. For example, Pandas and NumPy. I could model my data set in Pandas. I could even make it into a tidy data set in Pandas. I can perform statistics, I can perform analysis, I can do visualization. Everything is included in Pandas. And I could use NumPy to optimally multiply matrices if I wanted to. But Pandas also has a method of optimization at the low level. But of course, if I was turning everything into matrices of numerical values, I would of course convert it into a NumPy array and then do mathematical um, computation using that. So those are just the current tools at hand. And yeah, I think, I'm not sure when this paper was written, but I'll look at it later. So I'll read the case study now, finish that off, and then most likely finish off the discussion as well. All right. Alright, so it looks like pandas did exist whenever this paper was written, but it doesn't seem like they had methods to parse dates, numbers, identify missing values, correct character encodings. And all of this has happened. Filling structurally missing values, verifying experimental design. Maybe not this, but most of these methods have been implemented into pandas. Anyways, the case study was interesting. I mean, it takes a small set of data points, and then he proceeds to build multiple data sets out of it. He combines it and aggregates it all together, produces a scatter plot, and does like analysis on it. I don't really understand the statistical analysis that he's doing. He goes deep into statistics, but he's doing something, I can tell you that. Yeah, the discussion was interesting. He just talks about like how tools should improve and how people should use the tidy dataset format. I think it's pretty much the standard now. Like it's kind of assumed when we start doing analysis, like columns are variables that are linearly independent, and we use columns for comparing values against each other, and rows are just metrics or observations. It's pretty standard now. But there are ways to switch like x and y and y and x. So even if that relationship is not directly, even if it's like swapped, it doesn't really matter, because if you feed it through an ML model or some sort of deep learning model, you'll learn to, as long as you identify your independent variables and your dependent variables, you're fine. You can always transpose the matrix. Okay, so that's it for this paper. What I'll do is I'll add like a folder here, like annotated papers or something. Create a couple sections for data science, ML, and deep learning, and throw in my annotated paper. I'm not sure if I'm able to like host it on GitHub. Not sure what the copyright issues are, or if this even has any copyright issues. But yeah, okay. So I'll update GitHub and get on with my day. So for tomorrow, let's see. So there's something wrong with ML project, the pipeline project. I think it was something with running the. Oh no, I did get it working. I just have to test the accuracy. I think that's where I was stuck. Because I remember the model wasn't working, and then I got it to work. But then all the values were like between like -1 to like 0, but they were like very, very small negative numbers, which made no sense. So what can I do? I can either read ML applications. I'm not even sure what chapter I'm on for that. It looks like chapter 6, maybe? Chapter 7. What is chapter 7? Chapter 7 is using classifiers for a writing recommendation. Why not? I'll read chapter 7. I'm reading about applications. This will most likely take 2 or 3 days to read, and then I'll continue with the project, hopefully. See what's wrong and figure out how to solve it. Okay, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow.